Pranams to everyone. A warm welcome to this session of Sri Lalita Sahasranama Stotram Chanting. Let us start with Guru Vandanam. Gurureva gatir gurumeva bhaje Gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave Na gurov paramam shishurasmi guroho Matirasti gurau mama pahi guru. Dhyanam. Let us meditate on Devi before we start the Dhyanam. Sindhuraruna vigrahan trinayanam manikya maulis phurat taranayaka shekharam smita mukhi mapina vakshoruham panibhyamali purna ratna chashakam रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणान् ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहमित्येव विभावये भवानीम् ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्रायताक्षीं हेमाभां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसद्धेम पद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमभयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुतां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीम् सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दहसिते क्षणां सशरचापपाशाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्य भूषाम्बरां जपाकुसुमभासुरां जपविधौ स्मरेदम्बिकां श्रीमात्रे नमः। श्रीमाता श्रीमहाराज्ञी श्रीमत्सिंहासनेश्वरी चिदग्निकुण्डसम्भूता देवकार्यसमुद्यता उद्यद्भानुसहस्राभा चतुर्बाहुसमन्विता रागस्वरूपपाषाढ्या क्रोधाकाराङ्कुशोज्ज्वला मनोरूपेक्षुकोदण्डा पञ्चतन्मात्रसायका निजारुणप्रभापूरमज्जद्ब्रह्माण्डं मण्डला. Today we will do a small revision of the pronunciation aspects as we are nearing to completion. We'll quickly do a revision of the pronunciation aspects. We have done this earlier at the beginning of the class, and sometime in between also we had a short touch upon revision of these aspects. And as we are coming to the closure of the course, I would like to again emphasize on this and do a quick revision so that we are able to observe and correct ourselves on any pronunciation aspects. So as you see in the screen, this is the chart which you generally see. We call it as the Varnamala chart, Varnaha. So the Varnamala is nothing but the alphabets, and Varnaha, as you know, are categorized into different categories or divisions, we can say, types, we can say. And like any other regional language also, we have the categorization, that is the classification of the Varnaha here. So we will look at the major classification in these varnas with focus on what is applicable for our learning. So we will touch upon few aspects in this. The first one that you are seeing, so it's divided into the major categorization I'm talking about: swaraha, ayogavahaha, vyanjanani, and yamaha. For our learning with respect specifically to the stotras, we are focusing on swaraha, ayogavahaha, and vyanjanani, these three classifications. Swaraha, as you see, is further classified into three. Hrasvaha, that is Hrasvaswaraha, the short vowels which I keep referring to in the class. Dirghaha, the long vowels, wherever Dirghaswaras are there. Plutaha is the third classification. Generally, for now, we are more concerned, or we are going to focus on the Hrasvaha and Dirghaha. So the swaras are classified into three. Swaras means vowels. Vowels are classified into three categories: Hrasvaha, Dirghaha, and Plutaha. Then we have the Ayogavahaha, which is the again is divided into four: Anuswaraha, Visargaha, Jihvamuliyaha, and Upadhvaniyaha. I will again speak about this in the upcoming slides. For now, just understand the classifications as is. Then we have the Vyanjanani. Vyanjanani is the consonants. So, consonants, we have two categories: Vargiya Vyanjanani and Avargiya Vyanjanani. Vargiya means it falls in a specific varga. Avargiya, it doesn't fall into any varga. So, basically, consonants are divided into two. So, Swaraha, Hrasvaha, Dirghaha, Plutaha, and Ayogavahaha is further classified into Anuswaraha, Visargaha, Jihvamuliyaha, and Upadhmaniyaha. Vyanjanani, Vargiya Vyanjanani, and Avargiya Vyanjanani. For now, we are more focusing on these aspects with respect to the course. So let's look at what it means to us. So swaraha means vayam rajante iti swaraha, which means we can pronounce, we can tell the swaras. It shines on itself. We don't need the support of any other letter to pronounce the swaras. For example, a, I, o. So these are independently pronounced. So these are called as the swaras. They stand on their own or shine on their own. So swaras, as you saw in the previous chart, is classified into Hrasvaswaraha, Dirghaswaraha, and Plutaha. So this classification is based on the time it takes to pronounce something. So that time is measured as matra kala. That is the time taken to blink our eyelids once. So eka matro bhavet hrasvaha means hrasvaswara, a short vowel, can be pronounced in one matra kala. Dvimatro dirgha uchyate. So dirgha swara, that is a, I, u, r, e, I, all this will take two matra kalas, that is the time taken to blink eyelids twice. Trimatrastu plutogneya. We saw a third classification, right? Plutaha. That takes three matra kalas to pronounce a pluta letter. And vyanjanantu ardha matrakam. Vyanjanam means the consonant. Consonant will take half matra kala. Why? We will see it again. So generally, which are the swaras? So the swaras, as I said, are a, I, o, r, l, e, I, o, au. These are called as the vowels or the swaras. And this is classified as Hrasvaswaraha and Dirghaswaraha. Hrasvaswaraha takes one matra kala to pronounce. Dirghaswaraha take two matra kalas to pronounce.
Hrasvaswaraha a, I, u, r, l. Dirghaswaraha a, I, u, r, e, I, o, au.
Dhanyavadaha Trayi. So we spoke about swaraha. Now that is, we spoke about both short vowels and long vowels, hrasvaha and dirghaha. Now let us look at the vyanjanani. Vyanjanani means the consonants. K, k, g, gh, ch, ch. All these are consonants. We call that as vyanjanani in Sanskritam. So this is classified into Vargiya Vyanjanani and Avargiya Vyanjanani. And we also said that Vyanjanam, that is Vyanjana, can be pronounced in half a matra kala. Because here if you see Kavargaha, that is Ka group of letters. K, K, G, G, Ny. So, it joins with a swara to form a complete Purnaksharam, right? So, that is why it is taking the Ardha Matra Kala. So, we have Vargiya Vyanjanani, 5 Vargas, Kavargaha, Chavargaha, Tavargaha, Tavargaha and Pavargaha. Then we have the Avargiya Vyanjanani, that is ya, ra, la, va, sha, sa, ha. These 8 letters do not fall under these 5 vargas. So they are called as avargiya vyanjanani. And then the last letter of every varga in Vargiya Vyanjanani, the 5th letter in each of these vargas, it is called as the Anunasikakshara. It means nasal consonant, which is pronounced with the help of the nose, the nasal consonants, which is the 5th letter of each varga. And when a vyanjanam, for example, when a letter such as ra is a consonant, right? When it joins with a swara, it becomes a gunitaksharam. So, for example, if we come across Lalita, Ta, La, or Ishu, I, that in Ishu, Shu, Sha and U, Trayi. So, again, Ya and I. So, it is a gunitaksharam, vyanjanam plus swaraha.
Vargiya Vyanjanani, Kavargaha, K, Kh, G, Dh, Ng, Chavargaha, Ch, Ch, J, Jh, Ny, Tavargaha, T, Th, D, Dh, N, Tavargaha, T, Th, D, Dh, N, Pavargaha, P, P, B, B, M, Avargiya Vyanjanani, Y, R, L, V, Sh, Sh, S, H.
Uttamam, can you read out all the letters again slowly, especially focusing on the last letter of the each varga, the Anunasika aksharas?
K, K, G, G, Ng, Ch, Ch, J, Jh, Ny, T, Th, D, Dh, N, T, Th, D, Dh, N, P, P, B, B, M, Y, R, L, V, Sh, Sh, S, H.
Uttamam. So let us look at this Gunitaksharam. Let us take the word Ramaha. So here, how did this Ramaha, what was added to Ra or what was added to Ma to form this letter? So for Ra, R is the Vyanjana and we have A, the Swara, Dirgha Swara. So it became Ra. Then we have M and then we have A and the Visarga. So this became Maha. So Ramaha. So like this, for any word we can form the split of Swaras and Vyanjanas. So this, when we combine a Vyanjanam with the Swara, it is called as Gunitaksharam. Let us look at the So I just wanted to look at this verse from the perspective of you identifying the Gunitaksharas and basically to understand the concept of swaras and vowels. So if I take the letter Ma, M plus A. If I take the letter Ra, R plus A. So if I take the letter here, Th and Srimat Simha, right? We have Th, Sa, Yi, and then we have the Anuswara. Anuswara is the dot. If we take Simhasaneshwari, we have the letter Sha, and we have Va, and we have A. So like this, every letter that you are seeing is formed as a combination of Vyanjana and the Swara. for anything. For example, if we take Chidagni, we have here G, N and E. If we take in Kunda, N after Ku, the next letter is N and D and A. So similarly, Sambhuta, we have M, Bh and U, the Swara. So like this, the Gunitaksharas are formed and then these form the meaningful words. So now let us look at the next concept. This is called as Ayogavahaha. Ayogavahaha are classified as 4: Anuswaraha, Visargaha, Jivhamuliyaha, Upadhmaniyaha. So these become a part of the letters to give a meaningful pronunciation aspect. For example, we saw in the previous verse the Anuswara in Srimad Simhasaneshwari. You saw the dot, right? That is the Anuswara. So Anuswara is generally represented by a dot on the top of the letter. Visargaha, this is the symbol, that is the 2 dots, and it is generally represented next to the letter. So for instance, in case of this verse, Ekamatro bhavet hrasvaha, we have after va there is visarga, so we pronounce this as hrasvaha. Suppose if this was a dirgha here, that is hrasvaha, so this visarga always follows the swara of the letter which comes behind it. So if since here we have a swara, hrasvaha. If it was dirgha a, hrasvaha. So it changes according to the swara which is present at the end of the word. Then we have jivhamuliyaha. In jivhamuliyaha, if you remember, we had seen this symbol in many places, right? When there is a visarga and then we have the letter ka, or when we have a visarga and we have the letter pa or pa, ka or kha or pa or pa. So these are the symbols for jivhamuliyaha and upadhmaniyaha. So in many verses we have come across this, and chanting, we don't chant the complete visarga in these cases. If you see any text, like if you pick up the Lalita Sahasranamam text from any language, any author, etc., publication, you will see the visarga, but you do not actually see these symbols. But what we need to understand here is, whenever we see the visarga and then we see ka or kha, this pronunciation vishesha, that is this aspect, applies. Similarly, whenever we see a visarga and then we see pa or pa, then this pronunciation, that is upadhmaniyaha, applies. So let us look at the example. We will come to the examples. Before we go there, yes, it's here. So Anuswaraha, we spoke about it. That is a dot above the letter Anuswara. Swaram anuprayujyate iti Anuswaraha. It comes along with the vowels like im, etc. And Anuswara can be used when the following letter is a consonant, that is a vyanjana. So in this specific example, we have Paramam and Shishurasmi. So you see the letter, you see the Anuswara dot here, right? This is the script while writing. So in this case, let us say Aham Atra Asmi. So here in Atra, there is the swara A. So we are going to represent this as M, right? But when it was a consonant, like in this case, Guroho Paramam, Shishurasmi, we have Ma and the Anuswara because Sha is a consonant. In this case, we have the letter Aham Atra Asmi. We are representing it as Ma because we have the swara next to it, that is A. Even if it was E, Vu, any swara, the same rule will apply. Any vyanjanam, then this representation will apply. So there was lot of doubts with respect to when there is a Anuswara. There are rules with respect to how we pronounce the Anuswara when the following letter is a consonant, and to which varga it belongs to. So I just wanted to focus here a little more. In the Dhyana Shloka, you might have observed me telling the fourth line differently, right? Sometimes. So this is the explanation for the same. Sinduraruna Vigraham. We all know now that there is an Anuswara, a dot on the top of Ha, right? This is an Anuswara. Next, we are starting with the letter Trinayanam. Tha is the letter. That is the consonant here. So, whenever there is an Anuswara and then we have a consonant next to it, in place of Anuswara, this is with respect to pronunciation. When we have the consonant after the Anuswara, we are going to follow a specific pronunciation rule here, which is in the place of Anuswara, we will use the last letter of that particular varga to which the consonant belongs to. So in this case, we have Trinayana. Ta is there, right? Which is a fifth letter of the varga. The, tha, the, dha and na. So, Sinduraruna Vigrahan Trinayanam. So, I'm not chanting it as Sinduraruna Vigraham Trinayanam. So, I'm changing it to Sinduraruna Vigrahan Trinayanam. Okay. Now, if I'm chanting this line together without taking a pause at all, we have Anuswara again on Trinayanam top of this letter, and then we have the consonant Ma. Ma comes in which Pa, Pha, Ba, Bha, Ma, Pavarga. Fifth letter of Pavarga is Ma itself, right? So, here Trinayanam Manikya Maulis Phurat. Trinayanam Manikya Maulis Phurat. This is how we pronounce it. Now let us come to the in this case Taranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhi Pinavakshoruham. You might ask me, there is an Anuswara here also, and then we have the Vyanjana starting with Sa, right? But this particular rule applies only for the Vargiya Vyanjana. So if there is a Avargiya Vyanjana, Yara, Lava, Sha, Sa, Ha, then we will chant the complete word like Taranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhi Pinavakshoruham. Right? Next, let us look at the next line. Panibhyamalipurna ratna chashakam raktotpalam bibhrati. So in above ka also we have an Anuswara. Above la also we have an Anuswara. And in case of the first one, we have Ra. Ra is an Avargiya Vyanjana. Right? So we are going to chant this as Panibhyamalipurna ratna chashakam raktotpalam. Again, Ba here, we have Anuswara on top of La, and we have the Ba letter which is in Pavarga. Pa, Pa, Ba, Bha, Ma. So, fifth letter of Pavarga is Ma, right? Rattot Palam Bibhrati. Okay. Now, let us look at this last part. Saumyam Ratna Ghatastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Paramambikam. Now, if I take a pause after this charanam, then I'm going to chant it as Saumyam Ratna Ghatastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Paramambikam. If I do not take a pause here, then I can apply this rule of the Anuswara, which means Saumyam Ratna Ghatastha Rakta Charanan Dhyayet Paramambikam. Because we have an Anuswara on top of Na, and we have Dha which comes in Tavarga. The fifth letter of Tavarga is Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na. So, Charanan Dhyayet, it can become. However, because of the chanting, we will take a the chanting tune and the chandas. We take a pause after this charanam. Then we can chant it as charanam. Take a pause. Dhyayet paramambikam. So this is a best practice. So in case if you chant Sinduraruna Vigraham Trinayanam, it is not wrong. It is also correct. It is just that the rule what I told you now, it is a best practice. So if you follow this rule of applying the fifth letter of the varga whenever there is an Anuswara. In that case, you should follow the same rule across. So similarly, if we have after the Anuswara, if we have the letters like here or va also, there is a different pronunciation. I will tell you that when we get the respective example. So this is about the specifically with respect to Vargiya Vyanjana and the Anuswara rule. Now let us look at the rule related to the Visarga. So whenever we have a Visarga and the next letter is Sakara, that is Sa, then we do not chant the complete Visarga there. For example, if you see this second line first word is, if you see your text, any text of Lalita Sahasranama, Shantihi Swastimati. When we chant this, Shantis Swastimati, it will be. So there is a S and Sa. So when there is a Visarga and then when we have the Sa letter, it becomes Shantis Swastimati. This is the Visarga rule with respect to Sakaraha. Similarly, we have Visarga followed by the letter Ka. This is the Jivha Muliya. You remember the Ayogavaha 4 classifications, right? So in that the third one was Jivha Muliyaha. So this is the example for that. So we have Mahasaktihi Kundalini. If you see your Lalita Sahasranamam text anywhere, you will see a Visarga in place of this. The reason why this you are seeing on the screen is so it becomes easier for you to practice the pronunciation. Now we have the letter K here. If it was K or K for both, after Visarga, if we have K or K, then Mahasakti Kundalini is the right pronunciation.
तडिल्लता समरुचिश्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्तिः कुण्डलिनी विसतन्तु तनीयसी.
So you can notice the Visarga is not fully chanted here. Mahasakti Kundalini. Let us look at the next one. So next one is the Upadmaniya, the fourth classification we saw under the Ayogavaha. So where we said when there is a Visarga and then we have the letter Pa or Pa. In that case, this pronunciation rule will apply. So Tushtihi Pushtir Matir Dhritihi is what we have here. So we have a Visarga. So the Upadmaniya replaces this Visarga and this will be pronounced as Tushtih Pushtir Matir Dhritihi. Okay, and this next line, as we saw, Visarga and Sa, Shantis Swastimati. Right? Now, there is one more rule with respect to Visarga. You can see at the bottom of the screen. When there is a Visarga and then we have the letter Ksha, then we pronounce the complete Visarga in this case. Okay, whenever there is a Visarga and then Ksha. Sama Dukha Sukha Kshami, even if it is coming in the verse continuously, you will still chant the Visarga completely here. Sama Dukha Sukha Kshami. This is an exception. So you come across this a lot in a lot of places in Vishnu Sahasranama also, this particular aspect.
कुमारगणनाथाम्ब तुष्टिः पुष्टिर्मतिर्धृतिः शान्तिः स्वस्तिमती कान्तिर्नन्दिनी विघ्ननाशिनी.
Tamam, dhanyavadaha. So this is with respect to Upadmaniya. Now, it's very common that we mix up the letters such as Sa, Sha and Sha. All three are different letters as you see in the Avargiya Vyanjana, Ya, Ra, La, Va, Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha, right? So Sa, Sha, Sha are all three different letters. You would have heard me in the class saying whenever the letter Sha, like in Chashakam, Sha comes, I used to tell you, when you, as in Shanmukha, when we pronounce the name of the god Shanmukha, it is Sha, that is called as Murdhanya Sha, we call it as. And then whenever there is Shekharam, Shiva, Shivaha, So Shantihi. So that is as in Shiva, which is the Talavya Sha, we call it as. So these two are different letters. We pronounce it Shiva and as in Shanmukha Sha. So I used to tell you like as in Shanmukha. So that means it is a Murdhanya Sha. If it is like Shiva, then it is the Talavya Sha. It is a names. It is two different letters, Sh and Sha. And Sa, as you all know, it's totally different. Sometimes due to our regional language um, influences, we tend to mix up these letters, like instead of Sha, people will tell Sa, etc. But this is the correct pronunciation with respect to Sha, Sha and Sa. Okay. And the most important, you hear me telling this in every class, Mahaprana, Mahapranakshara, right? So there are two categories, as you all know now, Alpapranaha and Mahapranaha. So Alpapranaksharas are those letters which are pronounced with less effort. We do not put so much of effort to pronounce that. Or more air or more prana. We use less prana. Whereas for Mahapranaksharas, we put more effort or we use more air or more prana. So Alpapranaha and Mahapranaha. In every in the Vargiya Vyanjana, the first, second, third and fifth letters are Alpa Pranaksharas. First, third and fifth. Second and fourth letters are Maha Pranaksharas. Okay. And in the Avargiya Vyanjanani, the first four letters, Yara Lava or Alpa Prana, the last four are Mahaprana. But when I actually in the class, I wouldn't be highlighting and telling you this is Mahaprana, Sha, Sha, Saha, because it is easily understood and pronounced. I'll always be focusing on this Vargiya Vyanjanani Mahapranaksharas. Trayi, can you please read out the Vargiya Vyanjanani and Avargiya Vyanjanani? We focus on the Mahapranakshara letters.
वर्गीय व्यञ्जनानि क ख ग घ ङ च छ ज झ ञ ट थ ड ढ ण त थ द ध न प फ ब भ म अवर्गीय व्यञ्जनानि य र ल व श फ स ह.
Dhanyavadaha. So this is very important because these are some of the common mistakes that we all do. Then, so we'll just try to highlight some of the Mahapranaksharas which you have been seeing on the screen continuously. Like in the first line, Pa is a Mahapranakshara. Kha is a especially Vargiya Vyanjanani only we are highlighting here. We are not highlighting and showing. For example, if there is a Sha or Sha, we are not highlighting it as Mahaprana in the screen, but that is also a Mahapranakshara. Then we have Bha Mahapranakshara, we have Gha Mahapranakshara, Dha Mahapranakshara. So this is about Alpaprana and Mahaprana. Now we have Samyuktakshara. Samyuktakshara means a compound letter. We spoke about Swaraha, we spoke about Vyanjanani, and we also said that whenever a Swara combines with a Vyanjana, it becomes a Gunitakshara. Like Ka, Ka, Ki, right? Rama, R plus A, Ra. Now in this case, a Vyanjana and Vyanjana is combining, which is called as a Samyuktaksharam or a compound letter. So if we take the letter Udyad, if we take this word, first word, Udyad Bhanu Sahasrabha. O is a swara, which is very clear, right? Which is a hrasva swara. In Udya, Dya, we have the, Ya, and A swara. The, Ya, and A. So it became Dya. Now in the next one, Udyad Bhanu, we again have the, Bha, and A swara. So Udyad Bha, there is a Dirgha. In Nu, Na plus U, Nu. So like this, the swaras and vyanjanas and vyanjanas, when two or more vyanjanas combine, it's not just two vyanjanas. When there are multiple vyanjanas combining, it becomes a samyuktaksharam. Now, there is a concept called as dvitvam with respect to pronunciation. Generally, while there are rules associated to Dvitvam, at this level, what we do is we understand the basic concept of Dvitvam and learn this by more of listening and observation. You might have heard me saying in some places, Kameshwara Prema Ratna P. There is a P and Pa. If you see the general text, in no text, they will put another P in next before this Prema. But when pronouncing, we should understand that whenever there is a swara in Kameshwara, R plus A, there is a swara. And then we have the consonant Pa. This consonant should be other than R and H, right? And in that case, what happens? So there is, and after this, what is there? Pa is there. There is no swara. So if you take the letter, if you take the word in Kameshwara Prema, after R, there is the P, R and A. So after P, there is no swara, there is the consonant. So the first consonant, that is P, is getting doubled in this case, that is Dvitvam. So you hear one more P slightly in this case. You would have heard this and I would have corrected this sometimes to you. So Kameshwara Prema Ratna Mani Pratipanastani. So in multiple places, if you see in Ratna, so you have the after R, there is Ta and Ta. Though you see only Ta, one Ta in the text, there is a Dvitvam which is applicable only while pronouncing, because if we start showing this in the script, it is very confusing for people to read, and no text will show you this split. But this is a pronunciation aspect that we can become perfect as we listen, practice and observe. So Kameshwara Prema Ratna Mani Pratipanastani. Similarly, Nakadidhiti Sanchanna, we have, you see, Na Sanchanna. So we are having doubling in both the places here. And then again in Namajjana, already there is Ja and Ja, two consonants are there. And then Ma, we have a swara after Ma plus A. So the letter Ja is again getting added. So you might ask me why again letter Ja is coming, because the subsequent letter is Ja in this case. Namajjana tamoguna. So this is called as Varnadvitvam. So we have been using words like Pada. Pada means, let me go to. So generally, in Lalita Sahasranama, the each line comprises of 16 letters. If you see, usually there are some small exceptions. So Udyad Bhanu 4 letters, Sahasrabha 8. So after every 8 letters, this 8 letters can be called as one padam. So you can take a pause after this padam. So Udyad Bhanu Sahasrabha. Can take a pause and continue. Chaturbahu Samanvita. Right? However, please remember, if it is a single name, then we should not be taking a pause between. We should try to chant it continuously only. So this line can also be chanted continuously. Udyadbhanu sahasrabha chaturbahu samanvita is also correct. But for the sake of chanting it slowly, for taking sometimes it is very difficult to chant in one breath. So if we have to take a pause, we take a pause after the padam. So you see 4 padams in a verse. So Udyad Bhanu Sahasrabha first, Chaturbahu Samanvita, then Ragaswarupa Pashadhya third, then Krodha Karankushojvala fourth. So this is how the pada split. So when we say first pada, second pada, third pada, this is what we will be referring to. So just wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of this, as I know I'm aware that you already have attended this, and most of you have already picked up when I listen to you chanting in the class in the practice sessions. However, for the benefit of any new people as well as the assessments, I thought it's good for us to have one round of revision. Another important aspect, I just wanted to display this to you. So this is the nyasa. So when when we chant the Lalita Sahasranamam fully, we also chant this nyasa. So this also has been taught in the first class. So I'll be again teaching this before the end of the course. So please remember, whenever you are doing the complete Sahasranama Parayanam, please chant this nyasa and then continue with the dhyanam. Yeah, please focus on the first line. Yeah, go ahead.
निजसल्लापमाधुर्य विनिर्भर्त्सितकच्छपि मन्दस्मितप्रभापूरमज्जत्कामेशमानसा.
So this is one common mistake. We do not chant this as Nija Samlapa. That is not correct. So it has to be pronounced Nija Samlapa Madhurya.
नखदीधिति सञ्छन्ननमज्जनतमो गुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजालपराकृतसरोरुहा.
Dhanyavadaha. So we saw this example with respect to doubling of the letters, right? So when you see the text, there is no doubling shown here for you. Nya is not getting double, nor not there's no one more ja is not there before this j and ja. So, but however, when we chant, it is only by carefully listening to the to whoever is teaching, you will pick up these things. So, nakadidhiti sanchanna namajjana tamoguna, it will be. Similarly, in the second line, padadvaya prabhajala. So, there is a p getting added before this p. So, when next time when you listen to any recording or when you practice with the class recording, please observe these things so it will be easier for you. So, Mahalavanya Shevatihi. With respect to the Visargas, I told that the Visarga follows the Swara of the previous letter, right? So, this is Shevatihi. In this case, E and E is the Swara, Dh plus E, right? And then we have Visarga. So, it's Shevatihi. So, we should not prolong this. It is not Ihi, it is Ihi. So, whichever Swara is there before the Visarga, so that is how it ends. So, Shevadhihi, it is not, like if you take Ramaha, it is Maha. So, in this case, Ihi. So, we should look at the Swara before the Visarga.
कण्ठाधः कटिपर्यन्तमध्यकूटस्वरूपिणी शक्तिकूटैकतापन्नकट्यधो भागधारिणी.
Tamam. So the focus was here on the Visarga, and then we have Ka, right? Jivha Mulya is applicable. So like, because in this case, we are actually showing this symbol of Jivha Mulya, but if you take any Lalita Sahasranamam or any Bhagavad Gita, any text in Sanskritam, you will only see the Visarga here. So it is you who has to identify that there is a Visarga and there is a Ka or Kha. So I need to chant this differently. So this is one aspect that you need to remember. We discussed this part. So like I was pointing out, wherever there is an Anuswara, like in this case, we don't, we do not, we tend to mix up the Anuswara. Like in some cases we use like m, and some cases we use n, right? So this damstro, this is not danstro, this is damstro. So it is a general confusion which is very common. So I keep getting questions regarding this and hence trying to clarify. Rudhira samsthita, this is not sansthita, it is Rudhira samsthita. So please be mindful of that. Ishu, can you please chant this verse?
मणिपूराब्जनिलया वदनत्रयसंयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता.
So in this case, Vadanatraya Sanyuta, right? We have a Anuswara on top of Sa, and then we have Ya. So whenever there is Ya or Va also, the best practice is to chant this as Vadanatraya Sanyuta, not Samyuta. While I am saying that, it is not incorrect if you chant it as Samyuta. That is also correct. It is a best practice. Like, you know, how the in Vargiya Vyanjana, we said that whenever there is Sindhuraruna Vigraham, there is an Anuswara. Trinayanam so the fifth letter of Tavarga replaces, right? That's a best practice. Similarly here, Vadanatraya Samyuta is also correct. However, the best practice is to chant it. Ishu, please chant this again.
मणिपूराब्जनिलया वदनत्रयसंयुता वज्रादिकायुधोपेता डामर्यादिभिरावृता.
So we will stop here. I had also mentioned there will be some announcements regarding assessments. I think I have taken more time today for the grammatical aspects. So next class, I will speak in detail about the assessments, but I'll just want to give you a 1 minute information. So after the in next 3 to 4 classes, we will be completing the course, and after that you will have some time wherein you can practice you can go through the practice, look at the recordings and practice, and the assessment dates will be announced. There will be 3 types of assessments. One is the smaranam, means you're going to memorize the Sahasranama and chant it without seeing. So you will be asked to chant from a specific place. Whoever will ask, the Pruchaka, the judge will ask you, or the Acharya will ask you, can you chant from Medo Nishtha? You will continue from Medo Nishtha. That is smaranam. Then there is a Parayanam assessment. Parayanam is you see the script and you do the chanting. You are not able to memorize probably. So you will see the script and you will chant it looking at the script. In both the cases, you will be assessed on the in the pronunciation, raga, bhava, etc. And there is in addition to it, since in this course we have also covered the meanings. So because we have covered the meanings, there will be a CBT kind of assessment where you will be given access to a questionnaire where you will select the right answer, which will be focused on the meanings of the Sahasranamam. So these are 3 different types of assessment. People can opt for this assessment, like you can take Smaranam and CBT, or you can take Parayanam and CBT based on whatever you are comfortable with. While it is not mandatory that you take up the assessment, I insist or I request that it is good if you take up the assessment, not because you will get some certificate or you're going to you're going to get marks or anything. It is basically, it helps us to understand where we are, and also it can be a samarpanam to the Acharya who will ask you the questions on that day, or the Devi herself. So from that angle, it is good to take up the assessments, and I request all of you to register for the assessment when the information comes to you. So we'll talk more about in the upcoming classes. Today we will stop at this, and let us do the Mangalam. Sarvamangalamangale Shive Sarvarthasadhike Sharanye Triambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Pranams to everyone. Punarmalamaha.